Hail Pandawans and journeymen walking that Orktober path. How has Orktober been treating you? Are you doing your homework assignments? You creating those green and mean, gruesome, toothsome individuals we know and love as orcs or Hulk with tusks, things like that? Now, you don't have to do one every day, but you should be doing some at least every other day, or doing some scribbles or brutal doodles of it, which is kind of what I'm doing here. I decided to, how I started off doing a couple shapes here. I'm like, well, why don't I just use all the shapes I did in one picture? That's not the most effective way to make a picture, by the way, but that's what I decided to do today. So basically, I just took all the silhouettes I did and kind of, mashed them together. Or as what's it, Frank from Always Sunny? Just mash it, mash them together. But yeah, I'm just wanted to do something a little different this time, starting with just kind of the shapes of the orcs, with no real, thought in mind of, oh, well, there's a bunch of them together, then cool, let's just call it the Orc Mosh Pit. Now, I wouldn't be down in the pit with these gentlemen here. I mean, first of all, swords, that's not appropriate. Hammers, axes, fine, but swords, come on. Yeah, but that's the idea for this picture, just a Orc Mosh Pit with a bunch of the silhouettes that I did. So I'm using those, some of those distressed and broken ink brushes still. I'm still working with those, and they're pretty cool. Right now, this is just blocking in some shapes, but I found that I really like them either for doing simple line artwork, and then that's it, or as little finishing touches, which I kind of do on this in terms of hair, or adding like some, not pock marks, but texture to the orc skin and things like that. What's great about it is that in essence, it has that sort of feel of like the Japanese, is it sumi-e paintings, the ink brush, sumi-e? I don't think it'd be e, like Edo, right? Japanese Pandawans, please let me know, correct me on my Japanese linguisticals. But yeah, I like that kind of ink feel to it, so it makes me want to do maybe an Orktober image in that Japanese ink sort of wash thing, and then doing something like with, the Blade Master, because I think that would be a really cool sort of feel for it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen on the front of my web page or my YouTube page, it has the artwork is of this sort of samurai, Sam, R-I, character walking. He's got his sketch pad, he's got his pen or pencil, and he's doing artwork, and he's just sort of tossing it away. And as it floats away, it turns into some sort of a avian species, some kind of bird. But that artwork, when I first did it, was kind of in the style of that. And I really got into that style because I sort of had this, collection of mantras or precepts or, whatever you want to call it, for artwork. And I call that the illustrated path. That's why at the beginning of these, I'm like, Pandawans and journeymen walking that illustrated path. Well, the illustrated path is the path that we as artists do daily. It's something, and I say journeyman because in like that apprenticeship kind of thing, there's like journeyman is that mid-level, and in terms of art, I think that's where we are all going to be, as a journeyman. Like, you can never really master art, I guess, but you can know it very well. But I like that mentality of a journeyman, as you're always seeking to improve, always seeking to become better. Even though in my past video I said I don't necessarily try to learn new things, but that's not improve. Improve is just becoming better at what you already do. So yeah, I guess I'm contradicting myself a little bit, but I think you get the gist. Plus, that was like days ago, that video. That's ancient history. Why are you bringing up old shit? But yeah, like that illustrated path is something that I wrote and add to even to this day when I come up with new sayings. Like you've probably seen some of the things I'll say, like, create more than you consume, which means, it's not like you have to not do anything else, but besides art, even though I encourage that, but make more art than you consume other people's art. I like looking at other people's stuff too, but I want to create art. I don't want to necessarily look at art. Like to me, I guess I'm weird. Museums bore the hell out of me. Like I look at that, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's really good. But I'd rather be home making art than looking at someone else's. Another saying I have is stop living in other people's worlds. And what that means is, you can lose so many hours of every day and so many days of every week, compound that up to a year, just sitting there watching shows you don't necessarily care about, or, listening to news that, it's just on, how news is. It's the same thing basically every day, and then slightly changes at the end of the week or whatever. Every 5 days, okay, something new happens. Otherwise, it's just kind of regurgitating the same things. But it's like that, there's always a new movie to watch. There's always a new series to stream. And it's like all the time that you spend in there, you could spend working on creating your own. Like why watch Netflix when you can be creating your own Netflix pitch or something? Or why spend time, reading in or, poring over books when you could be creating your own book? Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying a lot of people, and myself included at times, have taken it to a far degree where it's like that's all you're doing. It's like, no, you need to have your head buried in that sketchbook, not in a book that had all this other creativity someone else did. And, you're kind of living in that world. But I get it. It's difficult. But, I've found that I tend to like audiobooks now because I can listen to those while I'm creating artwork. And I know it's not as, well, it can be as immersive, but I used to remember when I was a kid, I'd be reading like the latest Stephen King would come out or something, or Dragonlance or things like that, and I would just stay up all night reading it and fighting falling asleep and stuff like that. And that was really fun, but it was a very unproductive evening. And I think I've said this before. I got to put this in the illustrated path. Fun is not the purpose. It's great when you have fun, but you shouldn't seek just fun for itself, because that usually involves not getting anything done. And it's like, I get it. You need time to, as people say, take a mental break or charge your batteries. It's like, well, I find the best time to charge my batteries is sitting in front of a sketchbook or a screen, creating new things, creating energy, right? Energy is what charges you up, not sitting there doing nothing. Man, what a rambling video. This all started as a cool orc mosh pit talk, and now I've just been rambling on about illustrated path and journeyman and all that sort of stuff, and everyone's going, what the hell? Just let me look at the art. Well, you can always mute me too. That works. But yeah, so I think one of the next pictures I'm going to do, I still have on my list to do maybe a thing of orc weapons, and not the one like the words as weapons, but just design on like what are typical orky weapons. I do want to do one where I go through some of my sketchbooks that I have, but that's not very Orktober-ish, but maybe there's room for a break. Nonsense, it should be all orcs for October. And then there's Gnomevember someone came up with, but that means I got to draw gnomes for a month. I don't know if I can do that. And then we could do Dwarf-sember. That just sounds awful, but it's a reason to draw dwarfs for a month. That sounds great. All right, Pandawans. Well, I think we're getting close to the end here. Don't want to waste any more of your time with my blather. You want to get this video over with soon so you can go and create your own brutal doodle Orktober images, okay? Well, I will be talking to you soon. And until then, remember, Pandawans, your ABCs. Always be creating. Hail, and we'll see you soon. Cheers and beers.